whiskey from the viewpoint of an American in Germany tasting, well, rare and exotic whiskeys. I have something from BenRiach. It's called the First Edition, Malting Season First Edition. Wow, Rachel Berry, very, very big on here. So, handcrafted using BenRiach's historic floor malting and old traditional methods. Our slowly kilned malt creates a smooth whiskey with creamy barley sweetness. Well, barley sweetness, yes, smooth, I'm not sure. All right, so Whiskybase number 189361. Now, what makes this very special? Is it's a price tag of 86 euros? No. Is it the fact that in November and the fall of 2012 that they distilled this? No. Is it the fact that there's bourbon and virgin oak casks in here? No. Is it the fact that it was bottled on the 22nd of June 2021? Absolutely not. Is it the fact that there are only 6,672 bottles of these worldwide and they're all 700 milliliters with 47.8% ABV? No. What makes this whiskey special is the barley that was used. As I read before, handcrafted using BenRiach's historic floor maltings. Yay! Now, my question of the day is, should distilleries be actually building their own floor maltings? Now, before everyone screams yes, I want you to think about two factors. Factor number one is it's all about specializing. Now, malting is a science. We have big malting bins, 40 tons each, and so on, at these malting processing plants is what I'm going to call them, and so on. And they have created a science out of this. The old days with the hand turning, which BenRiach did in the film, there was one guy who actually had the shovel and was doing this. He said every 2 hours. I don't believe them. It's there for 3 days. I don't think they were there 2 hours, every 2 hours for 3 days to turn this. It was one guy with like a wheelbarrow type of thing. You pushed it along, and on the side there were actually blades that turned it. Excellent. But you also saw in the video there's actually a promotional video here for this whiskey, only for the 6,600 bottles. You actually have paddles from above, which actually came down and also turned the whiskeys. Those mechanical, and everything there is not handcrafted. They do shovel things down a little hole, but there's a mechanical pump that pumps it in the next room. It pumps it up to the malting floors, up above the ceiling, the Bottega at the top, and so on. So there is some things that were done by hand, and there were some things that were very mechanical here. Now that limits the amount of whiskey that can be produced. Now, Springbank produces, for example, all of their whiskey from their own malting floors. So if they were ever to go to a shift 24/7, 3 shifts, 7 days a week, they would actually have to build more malting floors to be able to do that. Highland Park with their 30% of malted barley that they do themselves, excellent. But if they were to go up to 100%, they would actually need to threefold their capacity. So this is the problem we have, capacity. I do not think that it'd be physically possible, I might be wrong, for Glenlivet, for Glenfiddich, for Macallan to have enough room next to the distilleries to actually have their own malting floors there. So that would be a big, big area and a logistical nightmare, to be honest, to do it handmade. Now, I also think that it's great to have specialists. If you have someone who's specialized with their scientific and with their control options and the monitoring abilities, that is what we want. We want to have a guarantee that each and every time it's identical. And I'm not really sure with a floor maltings if you can get that. Now, if you're doing peat, that might be a tiny, tiny little bit of a different matter, because you could be using your own peat that you had. You could be using different types of peats that you have. You could be actually influencing then how much peat is going on in there and so on. But if it's unpeated barley, I'm going to tend to go toward the sides of, hey, if you want to have a malting floor, especially with a visitor center, and you want to show the guests something special, go for it. But otherwise, I'm going to say it's more of a hassle. It's more of a cost factor, and it's more of a source of further problems of quality issues then it really is anything that will improve the quality of your whiskey. Personal opinion. I want computers making my whiskey more than I want a man making my whiskey. I'm so sorry. All right. So, yeah, I want a self-driving car, and I do not. I'd rather than letting me or my wife or anyone else drive. I believe that the technology there is going to be, at least in the future, great enough that I won't have to do that when I get too old to drive. All right. So now going to the nose, what do I get? I get some malty sweetness. I get a tiny little bit of I have a more of a hazelnut. They write down here a little bit of an almond moment. And that's about it. A little bit of alcohol as well. 47.8%. May I gripe and may I groan and may I complain again? I could not find anywhere on this bottle that it said natural color. It does say on the bottle here, maturation bourbon casks and virgin oak casks. It does say malting season, hand malted in the BenRiach Distillery 2021. It does say barley variant variety, I'm sorry, is a Concerto, and it was bottled 2021. And we do have in fairly large letters, BenRiach Master Blender is Rachel Berry. But other than that, there's no mention of natural color and there's no mention of non-chill filtering on this label. So, BenRiach's malting season celebrates our floor malting, which lies at the heart of the BenRiach distillery. The historic lifeblood of the distillery. They have remained in production for over 120 years since John Duff built the distillery. This malt produced during our malting season resulted in a rounded and creamy single malt of exceptional richness and character, a tribute to our founders and the slow craft of his historic maltings. Product of Scotland, blah, blah, blah. Nothing about color, nothing about non-chilled filtered on the bottle. Now on the tin here, we do have a weird phrase here. We have natural cask imparted color. So I guess it does say natural color here, but there's words like cask imparted in between. But still, there's no word of non-chill filtration. Now, I do not expect Brown-Forman, the owners now of BenRiach, to mention this. And oh, by the way, this was done, the malting was done in November of 2012. So thank you very much, Billy Walker. Now, Billy Walker sold the distillery to Brown-Forman, got a lot of money, bought his Glenallachie, and now he's doing his magic there. But this is actually the brainchild, and the initiator was Billy Walker and his team. I'm going to say all that Rachel Berry did. I'm sorry, I don't want to make her job here any less. Is she picked basically the 23 barrels that were all distilled on the 2nd of November in 1212, and she said, okay, it's time to marry them, put them out there, and do that. So going back to Rachel Berry, she calls this whiskey that it actually has a wholesome flavor from being too cask matured in bourbon and virgin oak barrels, and it creates a truly unique expression. All right. It's not that wowing me on the nose. Let's see if it wows me on the palate here. Cheers. Wow, that's hot. Hot white pepper, hot ginger pepper. I don't know if there's such a thing as ginger pepper, but ginger spice. Wow, that's not smooth. And then it's gone. There's not a long finish. There is the malted sweetness in here. There is that almond butter cake little bit in there. And that's it. That's it. This is on a good day a 30 to 40 euro whiskey. On a bad day, I'm willing to pay 60 euros to talk about the story and support the distillery for doing something which is very expensive. Hand malted, handcrafted malted barley. Thank you. But am I willing to pay 86 plus euros for this? Again? No. This is way overpriced in my opinion, way overpriced. All right, so color, barley gold, nose, richly aromatic with barley sugar, almond fudge, and poached orchard apple. Yes, I could say the apple, but it's not the primary flavor for me. On the palate, we have smooth, definitely not, and rounded with vanilla and honeyed pear. Okay, pear and apple. What else do you get from a bourbon matured whiskey after less than 10 years? With the lasting nuttiness of slowly kilned malt. Yeah, I must admit that I am not a big fan of this. I am not going to recommend this. This is a C minus in taste, and it's a D minus for price. So you do say, Jason, put a little bit of water in there. Let's see if this transforms into something that is better. And the nose is fine. It's no wow moment, but it's okay. I love the story, but I don't love the whiskey. Benriach is momentan now about one of 7 distilleries in Scotland that continue to practice the floor maltings themselves. And the thing that still bothers me is the heat. Even though I diluted it down to 43%, roundabout, there's still that massive heat in there. No, 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 no. So sorry. All right, so the question of the day was, and still is, should distilleries have their own malting floors, yes or no? I'm going to say yes for show purposes, no for actual production of malted barley for 100% of their distillery needs. Personal opinion, maybe you have a totally different opinion. Hey, bigger is not always better, but often it does help to create consistency and quality. All the best. Thank you very much for watching. Please like, subscribe, tell others, and maybe share this video, even though it's more of a whoops. They tried, but it didn't reach the quality that I was expecting type of video. And see you back here soon for more of these interesting videos of things that are rare and exotic. All the best. Bye bye.